Hey everybody, welcome back to another Captain's Log. As always, I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault here today. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do so, and don't forget to leave a like on the video. Now, December's been an interesting month for the PlayStation so far, and it looks like the month still has quite a bit more to offer before we roll into January. Not only have we seen some great games released, such as Need for Speed Unbound, Marvel's Midnight Suns, and of course the highly divisive Callisto Protocol, all of those releasing in the beginning of the month, but we also received the highly anticipated and well-received Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Now this has been updated for the next generation console and PC, of course, and it comes from CD Projekt Red at no cost. If you already own the game, you cannot beat that. If you haven't played this game, I recommend you do something to remedy that immediately because it is a classic. And the newest iteration features all the previous DLC plus some bonus content that was not in the previous version of the game, including some stuff based off of the Witcher TV series, so that's something awesome to think about there. Now, Crisis Core Final Fantasy VII Reunion also released a few days ago. This is a remastered game that was a prequel to the legendary Final Fantasy VII, and we all know, if you know anything about gaming, you know all about Final Fantasy VII, and of course, we're in the process of getting that fully remade from Square Enix, so that's pretty cool. Now, we can't talk about December without talking about the PS Plus Essentials lineup and how strong it was this month. The Mass Effect Legendary Edition is actually 3 games in one, and like The Witcher, they are all highly praised games, well, 2 of them at least. And if you haven't tried them or you only played the older versions, put this in your library and give it a go when you find some downtime. You will not regret it. Biomutant 2 was the second title released. I gave it a download because I'd heard so much about it. At release, it was kind of a mess. So many games are these days. But updates and patches since then have turned things around, and the game is generally well regarded in its current form. I played about an hour or so, and I'll admit it was entertaining, and I could see the appeal in it. Not my type of thing, but it was fun, and I could see people really enjoying it. Now the third, or fifth if you count Mass Effect as 3 games, that title is Divine Knockout Founders Edition. This is an arena fighter game. It's cartoonish and colorful and totally not my cup of tea, but give it a try if you like that kind of game. I guess you play as different gods and so forth in this weird arena fighting game. Yeah, check it out. Let me know in the comments if you like it. Now, that was just the PS Plus Essentials. PS Plus Extra continues to provide quality games, and Sony's partnership with Ubisoft keeps paying dividends, not only for Sony, but for us as gamers. Far Cry Primal, Far Cry 5, and Far Cry New Dawn will all join the ever-expanding library, and both Middle-earth games, Shadow of Mordor and Shadow of War, are also entering into the lineup. Now, Mordor was one of the first games I picked up when I got my PS4, and it was highly entertaining. It had a little Assassin's Creed sprinkled in there, and it had that highly innovative Nemesis system that has been patented and unfortunately not used very much since then. It was a really cool system. So, in any case, those 2 games are available. The Yakuza series is expanding as well with Yakuza 6, The Song of Life, and Yakuza Like a Dragon becoming available. Other games that are coming up include Mortal Shell, Judgment, Evil Genius 2, which looks kind of cool, and Worms WMD. But that's not all of them. December 20th is when these games will be available to download, so if you are an extra subscriber, check them out. Now on to the not great so stuff. PS Plus Premium, once again, was a bit of a letdown. You got PSP titles like Ridge Racer 2 and Pinball Heroes showing up, as well as PlayStation 3's Heavenly Sword and Oddworld Abe's Exodus, but those are the only titles that are going to be added. I'm up for renewal in February, and I'm still on the fence about keeping the premium service. January's lineup is going to swing me in one direction or the other, depending on what they offer. I believe Stray was part of the premium service, so that alone almost made it worth it this first year, but otherwise, I really haven't delved into that library of old games. I grew up with those games. I grew past those games, so it doesn't have as much appeal to me as it used to. And I've got ideas for fixing that premium tier. I've discussed them in the past. Maybe one day we'll talk about them again. But for now, That's what PS Plus Premium is offering. Now, looking ahead to 2023, there are a ton of games, new IPs and old, that are making some waves out there in the Twitterverse and all over the internet as people discuss them. In January, we've got a new IP coming out, Forspoken, that's for the Sony PlayStation, and a Dead Space remake is coming out, and that is a game that I have talked about before on here, and I love the originals with all my heart, so I can't wait to see that one again. February is going to give us the PlayStation VR 2 setup, and Horizon Call of the Mountain is going to be the flagship title, and it looks like it's been designed and packaged to sell with it, and they'll probably move a ton of hardware because of that. You've also got other games that will be upgraded for it. You've got Resident Evil Village. The 8th Resident Evil is going to have a patch that will allow you to play it. It's a free patch, so it's a free upgrade, so that would be terrifying, I'll tell you that. But yeah, that's coming out in February. March has the Resident Evil 4 remake. Speaking of Resident Evil, Skull and Bones, that highly anticipated by me Ubisoft pirate game that everybody else seems to hate on, and Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which looks pretty badass. All of them are coming out in March, and that's a solid first quarter. But that's only a handful of the games that are scheduled to release, so check your schedules and see what else is coming up. Now, Amazon's announced they will be moving forward with a live-action adaptation of God of War. Not a lot of details are available yet. This news just hit the internet recently. But like, I want to know, what version of Kratos are we going to see? Are we going to go back to Greece and see the classic Kratos in the first 3 games and the prequels and all that? Or are we going to see the older, wiser Kratos that we've had in the last 2 games as he's tackled the Norse mythology arc? But in either case, I'm not really holding my breath for this. Historically speaking, video game adaptations vary, usually from mediocre all the way down to abysmal, save for a handful of exceptions, of course. And given the quality of recent series we've seen on these various streaming platforms, I'm thinking this is going to be butchered. It has a good chance of being butchered. Streaming services offer their own original material, and it does open up the gates for a lot more options when it comes to producing different shows and movies. That's great. The downside of that, it thins out the talent pool, giving job opportunities to mediocre or worse writers, directors, actors, etc. You got Horizon getting a series, Fallout, and if you look back at the recent Resident Evil and the failure of that, The Witcher series and the tumultuous nature of that right now with Henry Cavill leaving, I just have a feeling that every streaming studio is jumping in on the bandwagon to cash in on what's popular rather than just creating these shows to honor the source materials and the fans. The fans, you and me, those are the fans. I hope I'm proven wrong, but what do you think about this recent trend? Also, how do you feel about all the December offerings from the PS Plus services? Personally, I couldn't be happier, except for the premium service, but again, that's a different story. What was your favorite release this month, and what games are you looking forward to mostly in 2023, especially in that first quarter? Leave a comment down below. We'll have a conversation about it. And thanks for stopping in as always. Oh, yeah, there's another sequel coming out sometime next year too that's been announced. Spider-Man 2, I think it was. I don't know, something's making me think of Spider-Man right now. In any case, thanks for stopping by as always. I'm Captain Beefy with the Game Vault, and leave a like on the video for me. Have a Merry Christmas, everyone. I will see you after the holiday. Until then, peace.